Hello, this is Sheila with Conscious Conversation. Stop that. This is Sheila with Conscious Conversation Central. And today is Wednesday, February the 7th.
Nice.
Halfway to Valentine's.
A week away. That's right. And I'm joined again with my posse. I can say that again now. Easy Rear and Lisa Rush. Welcome to you both. I don't even know why I say welcome. This is your house as much as it is. Come on in, take your shoes off. Let's talk.
All right.
I think we were gonna, and I think I might title this one too. So what's next? As that seems to be, Lisa, you kind of brought it up.
It feels like the question of the day. I can feel a lot of, where do we go from here? Now what happens?
Do you want to say about what your feeling is, why you feel like that's, I mean, I've seen it too, but.
Well, I think things in Tennessee might have not gone the way people had hoped, and they pinned a lot of hopes on things, and people now are feeling a little disoriented and not sure what to make of it. That's the feeling that I'm getting.
So would you say then that your observation, because my observation would be this, that there was a lot of hope maybe, or an expectation of they are setting us free kind of thing?
Oh, most definitely. Yes.
I'm bringing that out for a reason.
Okay.
She can hear me.
Yes, actually, so I can hear you. Well, because I have said throughout today, actually all throughout today, and I actually made a video about it earlier than today in regards to self-responsibility. And I know that that's a term that not a lot of folks, some folks are even tired of hearing of it. And some folks don't. I know that there is also a thought or a feeling that that's a punitive thing, but I look at it as a very self-empowering thing. To grab onto and take control of everything within my life is a very empowering thing.
Yes.
And
it's
not
the linear term responsibility usually is, you're responsible for X, Y, and Z, and you should be shamed or this, that, and the other thing.
Okay, well, so for me personally, and maybe it is a languaging thing, but for me personally, it has nothing to do with punitive or shame or any of that. It has more to do with taking control of the reins of anything that has to do with I. I will handle I. Thank you very much. And
I got this.
Right. I don't need actually someone to come along and hand me anything actually.
Or fix anything for me.
Right. If I need help, I might say, hey, could you lend a hand? Now there's nothing wrong with that in my view, but that's not a dependency on something else or someone else or,
When you mentioned, Lisa, when Sheila qualified question with you, that people were feeling, that someone was giving them freedom. And, there's been lots of examples over time and, not just this case, but in all sorts of things, and not just cases, alleged cases, but that, freedom's an inside job. Someone can hand you the keys or whatever it is, whatever the metaphor you're going to use. And if you're not willing to be there, or if you're only willing to fit certain parameters and certain constraints and constructs around it, then unless that actually shows up in that prescribed, scripted, focused, attached way, then you won't be it, see it, or feel it.
Right.
So, and Sheila, you had mentioned what's next. Well, what's next is everybody will let all of that go. What's next is people will tune into themselves intentionally, by choice or not, and really step into the truth of who they are and what that means and what that entails on a magical, mystical, fabulous, far out way, and on a 100% responsible, accountable, and liable way. And it will be easier and easier and easier for the idea of waiting, where you're sitting waiting, okay, did they release something yet? Did they give me the memo yet? Was something delivered? Was a speech delivered in such a way that, whatever it is, XYZ, was a verdict this, or whatever it is.
Right.
So that's part of the unbinding and unwinding that's occurring right this moment. So what's next is different for each person, and how do you want to describe it, and what do you want to see, and what are you doing to unfold and bring forth and expand the what's next? So each person, what is each being doing? Because not only is it an inside job, but it's not just for like there's 15, 20 or 100 people on the planet who knew everything is what's next, or around this alleged case you're talking about in Tennessee or anything like that. It's all of everything, in all of everything. And one of the things that I think that is really fun that people can play with, and do it as a game, kind of, it reminds me of when we used to drive different places on the highway when my daughter was little. There's some people play the I Spy game, with license plates and stuff, but there was something in her, I think it was a history teacher had a thing, to notice all of the license plates that were from different states and even different countries, and you could see them. And so, it meant, because it was in now, we had posited that in our reticulate activating system, which is a part of your brain that actually can capture those things. It's like if you want to be pregnant and you're having trouble, whatever, all of a sudden, there's pregnant people all over the place.
Right.
Not like there was a population explosion for creating babies. It's just because now that is what you have told your cognitive functions. This is what my focus is on right now. Or you're thinking about having a red car, Ferrari, whatever it is. There's another one, right? So there's actually a physiological thing that happens that's on the creator being side. So it's electromagnetic, it's energy, and it's actually cognitive, within the brain going on. So for what's next, how do you hold that? And are you waiting for someone to hand that to you? What are the things that you're doing? So what I was going to say is suggesting a game to play. There are so many dots out there. So instead of a license plate, look at the dots, because there are so many dots. Well, that I've been leaving, and there's so many dots that are on the IEV. There's so many dots that are out there in the larger context of what's going on, what's unfolding, things that are happening in events, and they are all connected. Things are not, I say, like there's not stuff happening in DC and certain things, they're just on the Hill, and there's not stuff happening just in Tennessee, and there's not just stuff happening, with the particular website that disappears and comes back and disappears and comes back. that all these things are all connected.
Yeah.
We're all connected, and the what's next is all connected. And how we bring in that what's next is all connected. So the game would be, if you feel like playing with it, play with all the dots in any place they come from, in any shape, and ask, your soul, your quantumness, as Sheila talked about before, I'm ready, I'm pulling my eye tech, pulling my eye comes, all that kind of stuff. So play with that and start, small to something that you're not attached to. So if you happen to be someone who's focused on and what Lisa and Sheila were discussing about what's next is vis-a-vis, freedom and the alleged case in Tennessee and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there's too much attachment there to play. Start right there. So
right.
Place else. Sure. And as you get warmed up and you get in the flow and you can see that it's fun, and you will actually see, it'll be slightly different for each being, but you will actually see the dots will light up for you in various ways, whether maybe there's a tone or a sound that they create, or something in your body will feel a certain way, resonate a certain way. Colors will light up certain ways for you, So it's different for me. Now, so now this game is actually a really cool game as you start to play it and understand it, because it's showing you lots of different tools, lots of different muscles that you can work and start to play with that are getting you to the what's next and beyond. And actually now you are fully invested, fully the commander of your vessel and your ship in playing and directing and navigating and experiencing what's next.
And for me, I'm really seeing it as a personal level. I think for me, the game of having somebody else decide what happens next is over for me.
Yeah, haven't we done that for eons already?
Yeah, and I'm bored with it, and I am done putting my life in somebody else's hands, because nobody does it better than me. I'm just being honest here.
Okay, so
I know what's best for me, and so it's really for me to design what happens to me next. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's not that. I was thinking to myself, so now I'm going to be someone that says, but wait a minute. wait a minute. They won't let me have my access. Or it's back to that same, thing about the money system and the slavery system, and they won't give it to us. They won't let go of the control. So how would either one of you respond to that? I mean, I know what I would say, but
you want to play first, Lisa?
Yeah, well, for me personally, I've been doing that for some time now, where I'm releasing myself from those limits. Those are self-imposed limits, actually, that say I need them to give me money so I can do what I want. Because that's one way of looking at it. It's not the only way. And so I'm playing with how can I get what I want, irregardless of what anybody else believes I should have, do, or be. And just having that internal focusing on what it is that I desire, it is coming to me. And in the most entertaining ways, actually. So I've proven to myself that was a self-imposed limit, kind of like BZ was saying. If you're attached that freedom looks like this and only this, then those are limits you're placing on yourself. And that's fine if that's the playground you want to play in. But I want to be limitless. And so I know that if I focus on what it is that I wish to experience, I can attract that to myself, and in the most unique and surprising ways, if I'm not attached to how it comes to me. And so the more that I do that, the easier it becomes for me to manifest for myself in that way. And the less I rely upon others. Now, that's not to say that what I need doesn't come to me through others. But it isn't a way that I designate. It isn't a way that I'm necessarily in control of. What I am in control of is what I wish to experience. And so I'm keeping my focus on that, and I'm allowing it to come to me in whichever way the universe or my big me decides to present that to me. So I'm open to the how and to the why and to the when, but not to the what. That is of my own design. So that's what I.
Cool. Cool. And I what was that?
You would say what?
Turn your volume down for some reason. You know what's happening is she just her energy went. Yeah. Okay. Now try BZ.
Okay.
No, it was her energy. That happens with her microphone. I've noticed when she gets really expansive like that, and I can almost see it now when that happens.
Sorry.
No, there's nothing to apologize for. It's actually quite beautiful. Go ahead, BZ.
I was going to say, from one perspective, you mentioned, Sheila was saying, they won't give me access and they're being mean to me, and, you don't understand, I need this and I can't do that. And from one perspective, that's absolutely correct. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And there are many, many other perspectives, and, you can move out from there. So how is that perspective and the energy, frequency, vibration that you hold, because that's really what it's about. Your predominant energy, frequency, vibration is such that that's the perspective that you hold, that you're locked into, and that you keep proving over and over and over and over again. So in one way, I would say, happy dance time, big time. Applaud yourself, cheer, bring out the band section, because you're showing yourself, you're proving to yourself that you are an amazing creator being. And you are creating this, recreating this, expanding the creativeness of this particular perspective and focus, which is what the predominant energy, frequency, vibration that you're holding. And you're doing it over and over and over again, and you're making it more dense and more refined and confined and more focused, right? So great. So applaud yourself. Now, the next thing you might want to play with is, well, do you like it? How's it feel? Is it, is it working for you? And, if you already held the thought and listened to conversations such as this about being a creator being, and you like that and think that's kind of interesting, and you're not certain, because I know you don't know it, because you wouldn't be having this feeling if you knew it. Okay. Or you think it's bullshit, and, a bunch of whacked out chicks and whatever, and, and there's some whacked out guys out there talking about it too. Okay, great. So how's that working for you? Because what if you played with that it was just a movie? You go to movies all the time, and there's all sorts of stuff happening, and you go along for the ride and you play with it, and sometimes it just ends when you're done, or sometimes you think about it, or sometimes you kind of play with whatever cool thing that might have been happening in there and go, right, okay. So since this is what you're focused on, so in that focus, so then play with it. Well, what if things really were in this movie, because you're watching a video, so we'll pretend it's a movie, in this movie, what if they really were that way? And what if there really were these things, and I'm a character in this movie, and there are obstacles and bad guys, villains, good guys, whatever it is, and kind of your general scenario of a movie, action, adventure, romantic, comedy, we kind of got all those things going on, right? So well, what would you like to do, and how would you script your character, to do different things, you're holding this perspective here, but you want to, you like that or want this, or so, they're not allowing me to, quote unquote, perspective, right? And so turn that around, that, I want, or I want to experience, or I choose, or I want to create, or I do create, or whatever it is. So play out that. And that's one of the ways you get out of there. But what is very helpful first to notice is that the reason that's your perspective, and it's valid and it's yours, and I will applaud you for it 100% all the time, because it's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Because it's yours. And you are the captain of your perception and your perspective of things. And so that you can shift it. And you can widen out your perception, widen out your perspective and your focus of something, and take a moment to see that since that's a perspective, how powerful you are. I mean, you are so incredibly powerful. You just are not owning it. You're not paying attention to it. You're not honoring it. You are not in any way, shape, or form reveling in the deliciousness of it. And when you start to just dance with that just a little bit, you can then notice that this perspective that you hold, whether it's, being annoyed or scared or frustrated or bitter or, accusatory or anything else, because that's really what, let's face it, let's be honest here, at least to oneself, that's the frequency vibrational characteristics of that perspective that's being held. Mm-hmm. And you are repeating it, you're fleshing it out, you're making it more vibrant, you're making it more really this wonderful, I mean, I can feel it in my hands, those perspectives. They're just beautiful. They really are beautiful because they're your creation. So you choose. Can you open a few, windows, fingers, whatever, metaphor you want to use, to let some more light in, to let some more air, to let some more space for expansion? It can only be for a moment. You don't have to, go out here. You can just for a moment look at things and see those dots that I talked about, and where do they connect? And don't play solely up here. Play in all of you, play from your heart, and let this, the thinking or the analyzing or the, slotting or however you might call it, let that be the supporting role, the research role, the kind of logistics and winnowing, sorting out kind of a role. And this leads the show. This leads the show, and see what opens up. And I can guarantee that not only will the perspectives change, because your frequency, your predominant frequency vibration is changing and expanding. And the beautiful thing is that more things will light up for you. More, it's just you've opened up this flow. So you turned on the spigot, you unkinked the hose, whatever you want to use as your metaphor. Mm-hmm. And now the flow is coming because you're more interested in the feeling of that flow and the feeling of what you're saying you don't have, but you really would. Another would be to say what you choose to create an experience. Now you're rocking and rolling. I mean, that's flow. You've got all sorts of stuff, and it's flowing through there. Have you ever been in a cold place and you had the hose on and the water was on, and you turned the hose on, and the water doesn't come out, and there's you can hear this kind of grumbling and crinkling in the hose, and all of a sudden, you'll hear more loud kind of crinkles and stuff, and all of a sudden you hear, and the water will shoot up just for a second, and then this big ice cube that's shaped like a hose shoots out. And then there's a little flow, and then it stops again. Well, that's a good pictorial metaphor, a good word picture for you to visualize when you turn on the spigot of the truth of who you are and that creation and that flow and that choosing point of your perspective and widen that up. Now you're sending it flowing. And you're being rewarded by you, because it's an inside job. You're rewarded by you, by the universe, which is you, by source, which is you. by all the, you know, other dots and players around there, which is, you know, all within the scope of you, that you'll start to see them. So this just flowed in, so it's kind of a jump, but I'm gonna jump with it for a minute. So if you've been watching anything at all and you're in the United States, you've been watching anything at all on the, well, you don't have to be in the United States to watch it, but of what's going on in the purported government and with the president and how he tweets things, and there's different conversations. And have you ever, whether you like him or not, doesn't matter, perhaps notice that there's a catalyzing going on there, and that has tremendous value, whether you like him or not, doesn't matter, but the same as the catalyzing. But notice as one dot, so there are tweets that are made that if you actually see them and connect with them, there's so much more being said than just the ink or the black strokes of a character in the Twitter screen or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're, so that's the hose thing. So you can do that with anything in any area of your life. It doesn't just have to be the alleged case in Tennessee. It doesn't have to just be the memo and then the newest report and, you know, so on and so on.
Right.
And the act of turning on that hose, as the metaphor, is the what's next. Why? Because you chose to do it. Why? Because you took your energy and said, even if I am in the place, space, and energy frequency that says this is all bullshit, well, okay, I'm not happy, and they got, you know, my stuff they're not letting me have, so what's it going to hurt me to play a little bit with, you know, this metaphoric bullshit hose thing turning on? Oh, okay, well, why not? I'm at a movie. I'm at the movie. I'm just going to eat some popcorn here and try this. And you'll be rewarded because yourself, all of you, will reward you in letting more of what's really you come on. And so the hose will be unblocked. You'll see the different dots. You'll see the different things that will shed more light on your perspective and give you more energetic proof and validation for the next place you chose to step or look or be or to expand into. And that's really the only point of the game to play, is because it's for you. It's not for me. I applaud your perspective. It's yours and you created it, and it's a beautiful thing. But you're not applauding your perspective. You're not applauding your creation. You're not applauding and honoring the power that you have and that where your choice points are. You're just keep on this one thing, whether because you thought of it yourself or because it was something else and you heard it and took it on, or it's a fear-driven thing, and you know the man or the master won't let me do X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, if you want to continue to choose to play small, that's great. That's absolutely up to you. It's a free will zone, and you can choose. And the last thing I'll finish on, just on that whole thing, is that we reside on and live on and are a part of, again, whether you know it or not or understand it or not, a planet called Gaia that is alive, not just because of the trees and this, but is a sentient being. And she, make no mistake about it, understands the truth of who she is and those choice points. And she's chosen. And she's going and expanding and changing her predominant frequency vibration. And she loves us so amazingly much and wants us with all of her heart to come along. But it's a free will choice. And she, like me, honors your perspective, honors your creation, honors your choice, and says, great, you choose. And like with any choosing and any flow, and energy frequency vibrational signature that you have predominantly, it does hold a quality and a resonance and an energy to it. And that quality, resonance, and energy actually will pull into the physicality of things, stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is learning by experiencing, by choice points, that those different frequencies have different characteristics to that stuffness. And some, from a labeling standpoint, would be labeled as sticky, icky, yucky, gooky stuffness, stuck stuffness, waiting stuffness. Wow, really magnificent, orgasmic, jubilant, joyful, loveful stuffness. And again, it's just a choice. So it's as simple as that, or it's as excruciatingly difficult as that. Choosing.
That was beautiful.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I always love having conversations with you guys.
Yeah, same.
And someone's saying, but she didn't answer the question.
Yeah, and it's at that point where I just want to reach out and smack you.
Choosing.
Yes, that's right. I choose to reach out and smack you.
Eyes to hear.
Eyes to hear? That was
sorry. I'm a little tired.
That's a new configuration.
I'm Mrs. Potato Head over here. I'm hearing with my eyes.
And that's what
seeing with
you
my
is
ears.
now creating. Eyes to hear with. That's a new one.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I wouldn't mind hearing with my eyes. Actually, you know what? I actually hear with my eyes because my ears are going, so I have to look at you in order to see what you're saying.
I'm lip reading over here.
Well, isn't there maybe we better end after this, but isn't there a practice where you breathe through your eyes?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what? Breathe through your eyes?
Or taste with your eyes, or yes.
You can breathe through your eyes. It's a
How does that work?
it's a I think Tai Chi and other technique master.
Yeah, and haven't I told you, Sheila, before, when you're struggling with your breath, breathe with every cell in your body?
No, yes, you have.
And that does work. I have asthma, and I've been getting myself off of pharmaceutical asthma medicine, and that's a technique that myself taught me.
Right.
That I can breathe with every cell in my body, not just my lungs. And that really helps me.
Well, and it has helped me, but of course, you know, I've viewed it as a point of focus, not that I could actually breathe through my eyes.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
Interesting, but that doesn't mean it's wrong either.
Okay.
So obviously, if it's a point of focus, perhaps I'm focusing on it and therefore am doing it.
Yes. And it's like, you know, it's think with your heart. Because
That's
your
real.
heart actually has more brain cells and more electromagnetic power processing capability than the old noggin does. And no, that's just not woo-woo. That's scientific proof. So go look it up.
Well, yes. Actually, I think HeartMath came out with that, didn't they?
Yeah, and others since then, yep.
Yeah. Well, just like there's also more serotonin receptors in your stomach than there are in your brain. You know, and gives a whole new meaning to paying attention to your gut, because you knew in your gut that you shouldn't have done this or you should have done that, and you know, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Well, thank you both for this.
Yeah, this is awesome.
I love having these conversations with you guys. And so there will be links to BZ's blog, the IUV, And Lisa's blog. What did I say now?
I'm just saying, well, and some days it's there and some days it's not. For some moments it's there and some moments it's not.
Well, yes. And so let's take this moment to say that if you go there and it's not there, BZ knows it's not there immediately. And
she's working on it.
Yeah. Don't panic. It's being handled. But for me, that's just, confirmation that you're doing something right.
She's on to something.
So there's that. So there will be a link, and if you don't get there, just keep on trying.
Yeah, try again.
Because eventually it will be up.
Well, send some of your creator being juice.
There you go.
And you'll help with the tech team supporting the thing. So
yeah, absolutely. Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
And so that will be in the and also Lisa's 2 blogs, Heart Song Musings and Resolutions, Tools for Transformation, along with How to Join Conscious Conversation Central Facebook page and my email address, so that we can get you signed up for the PPC squad, which is an email to send out invites to keep you informed of future stuff, which could be live shows or a blog or whatever else I might find myself getting up to. Because you just never know. Hang with me, you just never know. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Until next time.
Good night.
Bye.